I thought this was interesting. I seen this guy in this white truck parked in my alley right behind my home here a minute ago. He stopped, got out, went over to his passenger side door. Looked like he's wearing gloves. It was real odd. And here, I'm gonna just put that in motion. That was at 7:42. Right now it's 7:52, so that was 10 minutes ago. And I hit play. I did 8x, and this will speed it up because he's there doing something here. In a little bit, there he is. Okay, and right there, we're going to go out there in a minute where that fence is. It looks like in that you can tell where there he is. He come back out, and that's where I was saying I seen him in slow motion. You could see him where it looked like he had gloves on for whatever reason, and look, maybe even surgical gloves. I'm not sure, but that area right there, I'm going to show you here in a minute. It looks like where they tunneled under that wall, and I think it was part of the rig in this home, for their parties and for the murders, crimes, thefts, all the crime, the many crimes, the underground homes, and all that. Well, let's go outside, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. And I wonder if you left something over there. I don't know. There's some other ideas. I'm going to show you here. Okay. Very interesting. Somebody opened my gate, okay, because that gate was latched. And so sometime, I don't know where my gate's been open. Okay. Somebody in my yard. Okay. So, oh no, I don't want to lock it. There we go. Okay. And so anyway, here's where he was parked over here, and maybe he pissed, right? That's what it looks like. We got a little wet spot on the ground. Maybe that's what it was. What I want to show you though is where he parked was interesting. Right here, okay, you can see where the concrete is down here, and it comes up here, and it comes up there, and right there, that's new concrete that's been poured, okay? They dug under that wall right there, and then they poured concrete. That's what happened, because there's a whole row of bricks missing, see? And I'm gonna show you how far it goes over past the telephone pole. Actually, right here, it looks like they hit the telephone pole with the backhoe when they were digging it up. Boom, and they hit that, and they cut the ground line. There might be a work order for that ground line telling us when they did that, and I figured it was back when they were rigging this home for the crimes here. But this is all new concrete right here, and then you can see they stopped in the middle of the support column. You would never do that. Construction workers would never do that. That's done after the fact. And so that's how you know all that from this location right there all the way over to where I was showing you, okay? And this is right where the guy was parked. It was right here, okay? And so we turn around, and there's my home right there. Here's old Home Depot on that side. And so that's some of the evidence that I found in the past supporting this. Bella, come on, let's go. Come on, Bella. Here, I gotta pause this. Okay, the gate's latched, so you won't come undone by itself. Somebody's been in my backyard. More crimes at this house than I can count. Had to get Bella out of back. Okay, now I'm gonna show you something that I thought was interesting. Okay, I thought maybe that was the reason that this guy showed up in my alley. Okay, because I wondered if it wasn't a cop, and there's a reason I wondered if it wasn't a cop. And so anyways, here's it is. There was a news story earlier on the 5 o'clock news, KMID. It was Hallum was her name, Rachel, I think, Rachel Hallum, and she said there's a news story about there was a guy in the girls' bathroom, the Midland Home Depot store. That's directly behind my house. Well, I wrote her a long message, Rachel, and then they had suggested to contact Crimestoppers, so I sent it in to Crimestoppers too, and that's what I'm gonna read you right here. I said, I just saw this news story on KMID by Rachel Hallum, so I sent her this fact-filled message, and they copied and pasted it to Midland Crimestoppers. The question is, will they continue to cover up the crimes and murders connected with these underground homes, or will the police actually do their job this time? Okay, that says on my Facebook. And Officer Hernandez, I believe, is the one they said to contact. And I think I've already contacted him before. So it's real possible that he's the guy that's been put in charge of covering up the crimes and murders with with the house. I really think that's real possible. I just saw a story about the man in the bathroom stall at the Midland Home Depot store. This store is located directly behind my home at 3802 Faircircle, Midland, Texas. And on January 28, 2012, I was ambushed and shot by somebody under my home with burglar alarms going off in my attic. Back then, all I had was this crazy story, and I was called crazy to cover up these crimes, but those life-destroying lies no longer work. Now remember, this went to a reporter and went to Crimestoppers. I said, proof has now been found showing that I wasn't shot with my gun. I've also identified over 50 other homeowners reporting people in the attic since I was ambushed and shot with burglar alarms going off in my attic. This includes a dozen addresses for Midland, another dozen for Odessa. And I've documented multiple people saying that tunnels and underground homes are near my home. Sheriff candidate Joe Lozano was secretly recorded telling me that these underground homes was the hideout for the late sheriff Gary Painter. That's a recording. CAD programmer Layla O'Brien was secretly recorded telling me that she worked on this underground safe house project that had a budget on permit of $7.35 million and was finished in 1987. Interestingly, all the permits got accidentally deleted. That's what we found out. Another record said there were 4 3-bedroom $1 million underground homes that were buried over 25 foot deep, and she said they were having pedophile parties down there. That's another recording. Old Google Maps showed a large building in my backyard on the map screen that can't be seen from above ground, which this was recently deleted, okay? And but I have print screens of it. I've long suspected these underground homes was where the famous old show parties were held, and my friend Angie McGee Hurley told me about a young girl murdered at one of those parties in October 2010, but she was afraid to report it and said that high-level police were also at those parties. At the time, Angie was leaving my home and at the parties in 5 minutes, and I know this because we were talking on the phone while she drove there. They could verify that with phone records. It's my belief that Angie and the other people at those old show parties were parking in the Home Depot parking lot and then going underground somewhere over there before coming back towards my home via a tunnel that I found on old Google Earth pictures. I had already wondered if the tunnel entrance was located in the bathrooms because of their location in the building. A woman named Flo Rivas Rocha wrote me on Facebook and said, my son works at the Home Depot and his coworkers heard kids under the bathroom floor. I got a print screen of it. I'm going to show you. A guy named Rob Beard wrote me on Facebook and he told me that he asked his friend about the basement under the Midland Home Depot store and she sternly warned him, it's dangerous to talk about that. Don't talk about that, about the basement under the Midland Home Depot store. One day I was at the Home Depot store and I was telling a clerk my story about being shot by somebody under my home, and she said, if you happen to see a lot of cars in the parking lot late at night, then it's because we're stalking. I took this as a clue, knowing that parties for the oil show would need a lot of parking and they would need some kind of excuse to explain it. This was further confirmation. On July 2nd, 2019, I met Homeland Security Agent Paul Cervantes at the Midland Home Depot store, and I showed them where I believe the tunnel was located going from there to my home. I found this while looking at Google historical maps. 2 weeks later, the ground was dug up and concrete was poured there, so I've wondered if this human trafficking murder tunnel was now filled with concrete. There is more to the story, but I've wondered if the guy in the bathroom was there due to the underground entrance I suspected was there and maybe connected to the underground homes here. Remember, that's the reason I did it. They said, call Crimestoppers if you have any kind of tips on the guy in the men's and the girls' bathroom at the Home Depot store directly behind my house. Okay, so that's a pretty good tip, right? And here I put links to these proof videos, history of people in the attic, 50 other homeowners, proof showing I wasn't shot with a gun, multiple proofs. There's absolutely no doubt
I wasn't shot with my gun, so we know somebody under my home shot me. Proof of underground homes and tunnels. Multiple people documented. One of them's a sheriff, with supporting evidence from Google Maps. This Midland Home Depot evidence, I got a video on that. Met with Homeland. Now they're pouring concrete. That was right when I got them concrete coming off the truck 2 weeks after I was back there with Homeland Security showing them where a human trafficking murder tunnel was at. And Homeland's supposed to take care of human trafficking. They're not supposed to help the human trafficking murderers get away with murders. And that looks like what's going on. And then this last video I put in there was calling for Lieutenant Dickey to tell the truth, because Dickey was inside my home at 11:05 when he wasn't seen arriving on the cameras. I saw Woodward and Naylor at 11:01, and there wasn't no other entrances in my house. That's how we know he came from under my house. And that was on the night that I was ambushed and shot by somebody from under my house. Okay, and so and then I attach these, and this just goes to the press. You know our press. You know how good they are. I bet they'll jump all over this, right? Yeah, whatever. But anyway, these were where I showed this for 10 years. They just recently deleted it. You go to Google Maps, you put in my address 3802. You look on the map screen, it showed a large bunker in my backyard, but you look above ground, it wasn't there. And then I documented all these people telling me that there's underground tunnels and homes here. When I notified the city about that, then it got deleted after being there for many years. This is a Google Earth historical picture, and it shows behind the Home Depot store where they cut the ditch. Remember, we just looked at the wall. You could tell where they dug underneath this wall. That's what I was showing you back there, where they poured concrete under the wall, where they hit the telephone pole with the backhoe, okay, coming directly towards my house. And in the backyard is where one of them underground homes was, okay? And it looked like the neighbor had a suspected tunnel entrance in his backyard. As soon as I took pictures of that got removed. This was another suspected tunnel entrance, and that tree got removed, and they poured concrete there too. It has been absolute outright lawlessness is what's going on. This is the Crime Stopper tip that I submitted. Not that matters, because the last Crime Stopper I tipped, I went a few days later to add pictures, and it was deleted. They had deleted my Crime Stoppers tip. And that's supposed to be a record they keep forever. Here's that Rob Bibb, and he's the one I mentioned, a basement on the Midland Home Depot store. Be careful who you're telling that to and how that's dangerous. You need to be careful who you're talking to about that. You got that right. They'll break in your house, cut your phone lines, and shoot you. That's what she's saying. Right here, once again, here's the bunker in the backyard screen, and here's a Crime Stoppers where young girls' remains were found in 2013. So Angie tells me about a girl being murdered at 2010 Ojo party, 5 minutes from my house. I believe it was in the underground homes, or this one, or one of the other 4 of them, or 3 of them. And here's the girl. I feel like that. I've long felt like that was the girl based on the timing. That one we looked at. That one looked at. And then this one here, there it is. It was I print screened it. Flo Rivas Rocha. My son works at Home Depot, and his coworkers heard kids underneath the bathroom floor. Remember, this whole thing is about there was a guy that was in the girls' bathroom. It was a weird story. He goes in there and shuts the door to the bathroom door. What if there's a tunnel entrance in there? That's what I'm thinking, because the bathrooms are in the back end right here, right there. Where if you push that out, I bet you if you push this out, there's a bathroom right there. That's where they're at. Okay, so I wanted to show you that. So that got sent in to Crime Stoppers, and then this guy shows up in my alley, right? And then and so that's I thought that was real suspicious. I thought I would share that with you. I don't know if we can ever get past this lawlessness here. It don't really matter how much evidence you have here, or what you do. It is just outright, just crime, corruption, murder, burglary, theft, organized crime, lawlessness. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.